The regular council meeting, November the 18th, 2013, will now be called to order. And I'll ask the city clerk to please do the roll call.
Mr. Michael?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Palumbo?
Here.
Mr. Gearing? Mayor Pike?
Here. Let's stand and pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, we'll hear from the guest. Christina Schock, Oakland Avenue.
Hi, everybody. I'm usually here pretty much at every meeting. I'm just trying to get our speed bumps in on Oakland still. Traffic's been pretty bad lately on our street, so I'm just trying to see. I know you guys are going to be working on the budget coming up, maybe like in December, and just wanting to see what the chances are of us getting on the budget for in the spring. I know the funds are depleted for this year, and I respect that, understand that, but just trying to see if we can get on for next year for the budget.
I'm going to see if we can do something here tonight.
Okay.
Christine, we actually have money budgeted for next year and for that purpose.
Okay. Okay, great.
So I think tonight, if you stick around, I think it'll be all right.
Okay, we
Well,
appreciate
whatever you
that.
got to tower, Jones.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that this council puts the speed bumps up there. As soon as the Amosite plant opens next year, that is in 14,
Okay,
and the city will do the work in putting it in.
You
okay.
making that motion now, Blair?
If I'm allowed,
I second it. Yeah, I second it.
I make a motion that this council approves the city street department putting the speed bumps in on Oakland Avenue as soon as the Amosite plant opens in the year 14.
Your second?
Yes, sir.
You have a comment?
I mean, the residents of Oakland Avenue did what we asked them to do, and they were tireless in their efforts, and Mr. Jones, being in charge of the street department, recommended it, so that's why I second it.
We have 90% of the people on that street approving it. The city engineer approved it. The fact he brought it up at the last council meeting, I wasn't here, and we had promised the people we would do it. Also, in that ordinance, if it don't work out, it don't serve the purpose, we will take them out.
Joby, you have a comment?
I live up there, and it is a very, they are needed. And I mean, I've seen young kids flying up there racing and whatever, so I think they're going to serve a good purpose. So it's a good thing for the council to approve of that.
Okay, the motion is to install the speed bumps on Oakland Avenue as soon as you said where the Amosite plant opens in the spring, is that what you said?
How's that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Motion
Yeah.
passed.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate you
Appreciate you
keeping
guys.
your word and doing what.
Thanks for bringing our
Thank
attention
you.
to it.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for working
much.
so hard.
Thank you.
You can't call us politicians now.
Thank you.
Well, you know, speed bumps cost a lot of money, right? So, being that you're talking about streets and everything, I mean, can you put in the budget maybe to start paving some alleys or something? Put some money in the budget for that? The streets and alleys being paved and a lot of stuff.
Well, every year we have so many that we pick
You
from.
do
We
so.
try to get the worst first, and that's the way we've been doing. And with the way the money is, that's almost the way we have to do it.
Yeah. I know.
If I could wave the magic wand, I'd do them all, you know.
Yeah, I was saying, I know it costs a lot of money putting in speed bumps in.
We will be paving more streets and alleys next year. However, if anybody's got a street or an alley, my office is open. I'm a full-time councilman. And if you don't call and tell me about it, I don't know about it. And if the worst streets come first.
Being
That'd be
tired,
good.
I got all the time in the world, I'll come down to your office.
Make sure you let us know, and we'll definitely get on it.
All right.
There's also a copy of the proposed budgets for next year in the highway department and the street department under the general fund that does have money laid out for paving for next year.
You have any streets in mind you're looking at?
Well, the alley between Lemon and Millview,
Off out.
Lemon Street itself, period, where they had all that cutouts for the water company and the gas.
We will probably have some block grant money too, right, Mark?
Yeah, and I do believe those streets are scheduled for paving next year.
Okay.
Block grant money.
Very good.
I mean, the water company, they don't do the best job paving when they do it.
They can tear them up pretty good.
They tear them up pretty good, yeah.
We let them tear it out not before we pay it. All right, where we at? Herb Mitchell.
Such a long walk. Well, this is my assistant, Della Mitchell.
Are you
My
going
daughter.
to your assistant
Yeah.
talking?
Well, she always bolsters my position, regardless of what that may be. Council, mayor, Solicitor Eddie, friends, Romans, countrymen. Mark, my best side would be this camera, so I might want to switch it. Okay, anyway, we were proposing to the city regarding property known as the old police station here, that actually is adjacent to City Hall, and it faces the Fayette County Prison. I operate Mitch's Bail Bonds business here out of Fayette County, and I wanted to propose to the city the ability to hang signage on the old city police station just to advertise for my business, and I'm proposing to offer the city $1,200 annually for 2 years, and then perhaps the option to continue for an extended period if I would so choose at the end of that 2-year period. And I just wanted to propose that to council as maybe something that could be a mutual benefit to both, obviously just for the purpose of signage and nothing further.
Well, why not just do it month to month and do it as long as you want to, or as long as we cannot allow it any longer?
That's fine. I'm just thinking of budgetary considerations for the county. I don't know if it's better to have the funds up front at the beginning of the year. I'm just obviously trying to do something that works best for both of us as a partnership here. Right? Whatever works best. But yeah, we can treat it as a month to month, but I have no problem paying up front, so you guys can budget accordingly. And it's sometimes easier for me. It's not an overwhelming amount of money.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Bill Mayer,
I make a motion that we accept that.
you want to second
Somebody
it?
coming into the city.
I'll second that.
Lisa.
Second it?
Does it need to go through planning first?
Dave?
Well, at least they'll know where we're at.
No, I don't mean planning, I mean zoning. I checked with planning, they said no, right? Mr. Rifle, did we check with planning?
Yes, it would only need zoning because it's a sign, but it's an off-premise sign, so zoning would have to approve it, that's all.
And you said 500 a month, right?
Wait a minute, is that what I said?
Can we approve
Zoning
it?
has to approve what?
Yeah, can we approve it subject, JW says we can approve it, vote on it subject to.
So their decision. All right,
Yeah.
Kim?
Okay, the motion was made by Mr. Jones, I think Jody seconded it, to approve the proposal by Herb Mitchell to lease the space on the old police station at a fee of $100 per month, pending approval of the zoning commission.
Right.
Planning,
Just specifically, just so it's noted, specifically for advertising purposes on the facade of the building. I have no interest in anything on the interior, nor do I wish to have any liability associated with that, as I'm sure you guys will
Do
understand.
you know how big a sign you're looking to put up?
Well, I guess that's a point of negotiation or whatever the planning and zoning group would allow me to, obviously I'd like to make the best use of it as I possibly can, and obviously I'll try to keep it tasteful. In the respect that it will, like I said, simply be advertising, and it won't be, I won't try to outdo George C. Marshall's likeness on the apartment building up the street, let's just say. But I'll
Make sure you leave us your number.
What kind of sign are you talking about?
Well, this could be vinyl signage. I know there's some windows on the front of the building that, I could perhaps put decals in there, which might also enhance the appearance of the building as the way it is. Right now, people can see into the building. I've spoke with the sign company, and I've looked into some of their options, and they do have the ability to put like window decals that are
These signs that fall
transparent.
down or anything, or there's gonna be a liable for them.
I think if the signs fall down, that's probably going to be something that I would be responsible for, and perhaps our lease agreement can cover this.
Right.
Actually, we would be unless we had some kind of indemnification clause in the lease agreement, which we have to have.
And I'm fully aware of that, and I would obviously have you professionally hung and taken care of, so there wouldn't be, to hopefully prevent that possibility from coming about. Yes.
Then he has to petition the zoning board, right?
Right.
Okay, you know that.
Yes, sir.
All right, get back to us with that.
Sure. Thank you for your consideration of this matter, and I also wish the best of luck to our hopefully our new police officers here in the city. Continue with the great group here. Della, anything to add? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Just to take a vote on the motion by Mr. Jones, and sign, Mr. Rabel,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo.
Yes.
Mayor Pike.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Should we do comments on agenda items first? Do we have any comments on any of the agenda items? If so, speak now or forever hold your peace. We must be doing something right. Huh?
Give your comment.
No. I do have one. Earlier this year, we had one police officer retire and another leave for employment elsewhere. Since that time, the Police Civil Service Commission has worked diligently through the process to develop a qualified list of candidates. As a result of their efforts, there are two separate resolutions to hire two of the candidates on this evening's agenda. After a written exam, oral interview, and extensive background examination, these two candidates have the top two ranking on the list. I've taken the time to sit down and meet with each one, and I believe they will both be an asset to our police force. So they not only come as a recommendation from the Civil Service Commission, but from the Mayor's office as well. And I would like to ask for council's support. You want to read the resolution now? Now the resolution will be read.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown that Elliot B. Just is hereby appointed as a police officer for the City of Uniontown for a 16-month probationary period at a rate of $17.95 to be effective November 25th, 2013.
Comment.
I also met Elliot. I also met several individuals in law enforcement communities that have called me. I've been to that recommend him highly. So I think that the chief and the Civil Service Commission and the mayor have really outdone themselves. Every time we get a couple of new guys, I think, wow, these guys are great, and then we bring in more great guys. So,
Is it Elliot you're reading now, right?
yes, probably.
Elliot, would you like to tell the City Council why you'd like to become a policeman here in the city?
Yes, sir. I've been working this job for 2 years now. I graduated from the academy in 2011. Originally, I was born and raised in the city of Jeanette. I would like to come more southern. I like the area. I like the fact that there's a lot of land instead of being close. I like the town, or close with other houses. I like the fact that you can spread out a little more. Rather than go towards where I'm originally from, I want to go more south because I've worked in Mount Pleasant area for a while, and instead of staying in that area, I noticed that I spoke with a couple individuals, also a canine officer, about coming down here, and had a lot of people recommend the city to me. So I think another reason is because I did work in the city of Jeanette for a while, and the issues in the city is a lot like this one. That's why I applied here.
We've been hauling the mail into Jeanette for the last 35 years, and I'd like to thank you for never arresting us or giving us a parking ticket. So that goes a long ways with me.
Are you married?
What's that, sir?
Are you married?
No, I'm not.
No child. You ever consider moving into the city of Uniontown?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Plumbo?
I already asked questions about that.
All right.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown that Santino Mamorelli is hereby appointed as the police officer for the City of Uniontown for a 16-month probationary period at a rate of $17.95 an hour to be effective November 26, 2013.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
would you like to say something on their behalf? That'd go a long ways.
I will. Is it okay if I do it after the second one?
All right. Would you like to tell us why?
Make sure I don't want to get myself.
Well, police works in my family, and I did an internship while I was in school at California University. I really fell in love with this department, this city. I want to move down to this area. Really liked all the guys, and like how Chief Fox runs the department. I really think I make a good fit here.
Are you married?
I'm not. That's my girlfriend in the back of the room.
Get on him now. You ever have intention of moving into the city of Uniontown?
Absolutely, I do.
You know, I'm first. Can I go down there? The ball started with Chief. Yeah, right. Isn't
Go ahead.
I've actually had the pleasure of working with Santino when he was doing his internship. And he comes highly recommended, they both do, but he comes highly recommended now by Officer Garrow. So Santino, he's a good kid. He's a really hard worker, went to Cal, went to the police academy, you know, wants to continue his education, and I think that he'll be a great fit there.
I do believe if I was petitioning for this job and they asked me what I wanted to do most of all, what job I'd like to have, it'd be the chief's job.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Jones, you're next.
He already went.
Oh, Mr. Plumbo.
It's great to have you guys apply here and become highly recommended. Chief Cox, who I think the world of. So if he says you're good to go, that's good enough for me. But I met you guys right before we came in, and first impressions are a lot with me. So you guys really dress good, and at least one of you is Italian too. That's a good thing. So no offense, Elliot.
You'll have to abstain.
Yeah, I'll have to abstain. I have to abstain. No, I'm proud. You guys are great, and it's a pleasure having the pleasure to vote on two great guys. So hopefully, look forward to working with you.
Now, Chief, it's your turn.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the mayor and council for the opportunities to present these two men before you to be police officers in Uniontown. It's been almost 5 years now that since this administration has taken office, and I've had the opportunity to be the police chief for our police department. And what's really exciting is to be able to bring in new, young, energized police officers that are well-balanced, well-versed, and are anxious to become a part of our community, the law enforcement community. So I just want to thank you guys for being supportive, and I want to thank both Elliott and Santino for showing an interest in our police department in our city. Thank you.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. John?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
You both raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and Constitution of the Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of police officer with fidelity.
I do.
And I do further swear or affirm that I do not advocate, nor am I knowingly a member of any organization that advocates the overthrow of the government of the United States or of this Commonwealth by force or violence or other unconstitutional means, or seeking by force or violence to deny other persons their rights under the Constitution of the United States or of this Commonwealth. And I do further swear or affirm that I will not so advocate, nor will I knowingly become a member of such organization during the period that I am employed at the City of Uniontown, Pennsylvania.
Congratulations. Jason, which one goes where?
Elliott is 12.
It's you? That's you. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to accept the report of the treasurer for the month of October 2013, be and the same is hereby accepted and filed.
Since Mr. Gearing's not here, do you want to question that?
I was gonna say, I think we're gonna get all yeses.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Getty here.
He left.
Mr. Plumbo?
No comment.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to hereby accept the minutes of the October 2nd, 2013 regular council meeting.
Mr. Michael?
No comment.
Mr. Jones? Mr. Plumbo?
No comment.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown, council hereby directs the Director of Accounts and Finance to make payment of the following invoices for services rendered or products procured for the City of Uniontown for October 2013 invoices. In the general fund, $156,625.30, which includes the $10,918.57 transfer to off-street. Recreation, $8,322.73. Highway, $8,581.66. Recycling, $588.13. Sewer, $29,147.65, including a $2,231.31 transfer to recycling. Off-street, $15,876.66. Community development, $233.11.
Mr. Michael.
No comment.
Mr. Jones.
No comment.
Mr. Palumbo.
No comment?
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown, whereas pursuant to Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act 1968 as amended, Section 3 and outlined in 24 CFR 135.1 is to ensure that employment and other economic opportunities generated by certain HUD financial assistance shall, to the greatest extent feasible and consistent with existing federal, state, and local laws and regulations, be directed to low and very low income persons, particularly those who are recipients of government assistance for housing, and to business concerns which provide economic opportunities to low and very low income persons. And whereas the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the DCED, administers funds issued under HUD for state administered programs, CDBG, Home, ESG, shall ensure that all relevant grants made for community and economic development will comply with HUD Act of 1968 as amended. Excuse me, and outlined in 24 CFR 135.1, and has adopted policies and procedures for training, technical support, and compliance for Section 3 and Minority and Women's Business Enterprises Program. And whereas the City of Uniontown, County of Fayette participates in such state-administered programs in accordance with the terms, conditions, and provisions set by DCE and HUD. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown as follows. 1, the City Council hereby adopts Section 3 and MEB-WEB action plan developed by the DCED dated November 2008. 2, that the City Council hereby appoints the Executive Director of the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Uniontown as compliance officer for the Section 3 action plan. 3, that the Mayor of the City of Uniontown is hereby authorized to execute this agreement, and the City Clerk is authorized to attest to such execution on behalf of the City of Uniontown and affix the seal of the city thereon.
Mr. Michael.
No comment.
Mr. Jones.
No comment.
Mr. Palumbo.
No comment.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to introduce proposed ordinance number 1674, bill number 1692, an ordinance of the City of Uniontown, Fayette County, Pennsylvania, showing the estimated receipts, expenditures, and liabilities of every kind of all the funds for fiscal year 2014, with a balance of unexpended appropriations as the basis for fixing the levy and tax rate for said fiscal year, appropriating the various amounts shown as proposed, expenditures herein for the expenses of the city for said fiscal year from the revenue available for said fiscal year for the departments and specific purposes set forth herein, and the repealing of all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent herewith, and to direct the city clerk to advertise appropriate notice of intention to adopt said proposed ordinance at the regular meeting of City Council on December 18, 2013.
Mayor, I have a quick summary that we worked up. I'd like to just go over real quickly. First of all, I'd like to thank Kim and Bev for another great effort. They put a lot of time and effort into the budget, nights and weekends. And also like to thank the councilmen that are sitting here, the mayor, department heads, the police chief, Mr. Mahoney, Mr. Renzi. Everybody came together to try to help with this budget. It's a big undertaking, and they do most of the work, so they should be applauded. Just real quick, the summary. Our real estate tax, our tax rate for 2014 is proposed to stay the same as 2013. The residence tax will be about the same. It's a small reduction. Last year, Councilman Gehring asked about the 511 taxes. We use the historical data to configure income, which varies from year to year, depending on the real estate, but we got that number through the historical data. We're going to increase the parking violations by $60,000. We're going to purchase a handheld device along with aggressive revised parking enforcement. We now have a new ambulance service, so that rental income is going to be $12,000. We also are going to try to work out an agreement with the county on the old police station down at the fire department, but we don't have that worked out yet, and it's probably going to be a wash between.
What goes in, what goes out.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a wash. But the good part is we'll be able to renovate the space for nothing, and after the county is done utilizing it, we'll hopefully be able to rent that space. It's something that you've been wanting to do for many years.
Right.
State grants, we're going to, the CDBG grants for demolition, $100,000. Again, we're going to work with the redevelopment authority to try to remove blighted projects, and that's going to be part of that. Health insurance, we're actually going to go back to MEIT. It's going to be a little bit of a savings from where we are now. The health insurance, we've kind of learned we have to bid out every year and try to get the best rate with the economy the way it is, and Obamacare and everything else.
What kind of reduction did we see this year? Do you know that figure?
It's about 48,000.
How much?
48,000.
48,000.
So we keep going down in price, which is good.
Good.
And that's because of Kim and her staff. Buildings and grounds, we're gonna spend about $30,000 on new parking meters to get everything up to the same timing and everything together. Right now, we have a couple of different types of meters at different times, what a quarter's worth, so we're gonna try to get everything uniform. In the police department, we hired 2 officers tonight. That gives us a full complement of 22 officers, which includes the chief. They also go after grants. Jason's always looking for grants. We have the cops grants, $60,000. Other revenues of $55,000, which include like police services, tobacco enforcement, Persian court, police buckle up. The booking center brings in currently $120,000, and then the school resource officer is $32,000.
And what was that in money compared to what it costs to run the booking center? It will show a profit.
Yes, sir.
Just a ballpark, how much?
I think a little bit, but it definitely covers the cost.
But it's
Of the
sustained
two police.
itself.
Yes, sir.
Good.
In the fire department, 2014, we're gonna have 9 firemen through attrition, hoping to be able to hire some part-timers, but we're working on that. Health insurance, we still pay for 5 retired firemen. That costs us $125,000 a year.
For how long?
It depends until they retire.
4
so
years.
A couple years, yeah.
5.
5.
And that's how much a year?
$125,000 total. It's almost $25,000 a guy. Ballpark. The state aid is $290,000, but we split that between the police and fire. And we're also giving the Volunteer Relief Association for volunteers $37,000. In code and zoning, we're receiving $100,000 to be spent on the demolition, which we already discussed. And then the last but not least, $30,000 for speed bumps we have allocated for 2014. That's not $30,000 for one set of speed bumps, but we put in money for if other people had asked for speed bumps. So we wanted to cover any costs that we have in that area. And that's the total summary of the budget. We're in good shape right now. With fiscal conservatism, we're doing okay.
Great. Mr. Jones?
I don't know.
Mr. Palumbo?
Nothing. I just thank Kim and her staff for the hard work they did. They do it every year.
I know it takes a lot of work. You worked all day Saturday.
She was here.
By the way, she did get paid. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yeah.
Kim, did we skip 164 and 165?
I'm sorry?
Did we skip 164?
Yes, I apologize. I got out of order. I'm just going to
okay.
continue reading the budget ordinances.
That's,
and
yeah, that's
see
fine. I
what
just didn't know
missed.
what was on.
They got stuff with
I
my,
don't know
I
if he's
apologize.
gotten pulled or what.
I'll read those after.
That's fine.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to introduce proposed ordinance number 1675, bill number 1693, an ordinance of the City of Uniontown, County of Fayette, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the real estate tax rate for all city purposes for the fiscal year 2014, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent herewith. Section 1, that a tax be and that same is hereby levied on all property within the city subject to taxation for the city purposes for fiscal year 2014 pursuant to the computation of real estate tax levy as attached hereto and labeled Exhibit A as follows. A, for recreational purposes, the sum of .28753 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation. B, for library purposes, the sum of .720642 mils of each dollar of assessed valuation.
Is that 2 cents and then 7 cents, whatever? Okay.
0.72 cents for the library. Yes, you're right.
7.2 cents.
For general purposes, the sum of 11.22684 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation, reflecting no change in the tax levy of 12.235 mils for 2014, and to direct the city clerk to advertise appropriate notice of intention to adopt said proposed ordinance at the regular meeting of City Council on December, let's say 18, 2014.
18?
But, yeah.
Mr. Michael?
I made all my comments earlier.
Mr. Jones?
No comment.
Mr. Palumbo?
No comment.
Mr. Geary?
No comment.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mr. Geary?
No.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to introduce proposed ordinance number 1676, bill number 1694, an ordinance of the City of Uniontown, County of Fayette, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the salaries payable by the City of Uniontown for the various positions enumerated herein for the fiscal year 2014, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent herewith, and that the amount hereinafter set forth opposite the positions hereinafter enumerated be and the same are hereby fixed, and the salaries payable for said positions by the city for fiscal year 2014. And to direct the city clerk to advertise appropriate notice of intention to adopt said proposed ordinance at the regular meeting of City Council on December 18, 2013.
Mr. Michael?
No comment.
Mr. Jones?
No comment.
Mr. Palumbo?
No comment.
Mr. Geary?
No comment.
Mr. Michael?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mr. Geary?
No.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
I'll be reading now resolution number 164 that I got out of order. Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to hire Herald-Standard II for the purpose of developing a comprehensive study of the downtown parking areas to compile research data and make inclusive recommendations that may result in a change in structure of the current system. This position may also require parking enforcement duties that will be part-time up to 30 hours per week during December 2nd, 2013 at a salary of $10 per hour.
Chief Cox, would you want to elaborate on this a little bit? And what it's for, what it's needed for?
Well, we've had parking meters in the city of Uniontown in various places since I'm sure before I was born. At the beginning of this past year, sometime before, myself and Sergeant Brown, as assigned by you, started to collect and monitor the meters in the downtown district. And it appears that when you compare us to other municipalities, that there are just various changes that occur over time. You know, there's been a tremendous influx of vehicle usage and vehicle ownership since the 1980s and 1970s. And so it just appears that I think what we need to do is evaluate what type of parking we have in the downtown district.
Would you define that as his assignment?
Correct.
All right.
His job will be to evaluate what we have, compare that to other municipalities of similar size, and then also evaluate what works best in these other areas and compare what works best to what we have right now. And then I'm sure that at the end of that, there'll be some modifications that need to take place, that need to be made, and I'm sure that there's going to be a resolution at some point before council adopting some type of new policy or procedure in regards to parking in the downtown district.
Thank you.
I would also like to note that there was, in the budget, we put in $50,000 for the possibility of some type of new device for issuing parking tickets, a handheld device that would include the...
Does it write its ticket itself?
It does, and
And puts it in the computer?
right. It's with a program that's developed to put it into the computer, actually shoot out letters when they're not compliant. I'm not really sure what all it does, but I know that's a ballpark figure of what it could possibly cost.
And as Kim said, and one of the big proponents of a device like this is it takes away the human error count and also the necessity of a person to, under our existing system, when we receive a ticket, there's nothing computer generated. So we have to take that ticket. If that ticket's unpaid, we have to enter that ticket into a computer system. We have to track that ticket, see if that ticket's ever paid. So there's a lot of man hours, if you will, that goes into tracking who pays, who doesn't pay, and what goes on with our current ticket system. With this system, it will track all of that itself. And it will give you notifications as to when a ticket is 7 days past due, 10 days past due, 15, and so on and so forth. So it's very advantageous in a couple areas.
Who is this gentleman and who picked him and how did it come about?
I didn't hire him. That would be a question for council.
It's the only...
I picked him.
What?
He's the only person that, we've advertised a couple times. He's the only guy that applied.
We didn't say he's an educated fellow too.
Yeah. So,
College?
So it's a part-term, he could be part-time, short-term. After he does the study, we'll have to evaluate where we're at.
Well, has he done this before, or is he going to experiment in the city of Uniontown?
Well, the whole thing's experimental because we have a lot of things that have been left undone.
We'll be able to decide
So
whether...
we need, like, for example, there's handicap places that don't have the ordinance numbers. There's places in the city that need fire lane signage or signage issues all over the city. So really, ordinance issues. So I think that with the assistance of the city clerk and Sergeant Brown and Chief Cox, I think that he's going to be able to go out and do a lot of the full work.
How long are you going to employ this guy before we evaluate the thing?
Until the study's done. I think the study's probably...
I think we go month to month and just see where we're at.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I don't want it to
Yeah.
become
Well,
a
he's
permanent job.
Well, he's
Believe me, it's
also
needed.
well, he's also going to write tickets too. And
Right.
we're short a ticket of somebody. The last lady, she retired.
She just
So
retired.
we're short that, so he can do both functions. So we're going to use him in both capacities for now.
We're
Mr.
never going
Plummer.
to hire this guy on a month-to-month basis, is that correct?
I can put that on.
And put that in the ordinance.
Somebody want to second Blair's amendment?
I'll second.
And the advertisement actually did say it was a part-time, possibly
It's already in there, Blair, it's part-time.
Yeah, it's
Oh, it's
temporary.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
we advertise it temporary.
It's
Oh, all
temporary.
right, all right.
Yeah, I think month to month's a little bit of a stretch. You're going to need at least 3 to 6 months to kind of, figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
Mr. Plumbo?
Well, unlike prior to our administration, parking is a good revenue stream for the city.
Sure.
And I think, you know, to eliminate the man hours, like Chief said, I mean, it's a win-win. Eventually, this needs to be done. Maybe not in this way, but it definitely needs to be addressed. So I think it's a great idea to get brought up in the
Not to interrupt you, Mr. Palumbo, but you guys are exactly right. Jody down the police station does some of it, Shannon does some of it.
I know, I've been here when we.
Kim does some of it, Jason does some of it, everybody does a little piece.
Yeah.
I think that'll save a lot of time and effort.
And headaches too.
Yes.
Mr. Gary?
What is Mr. Camino's background?
He's college educated.
Business, I believe.
Yeah, he has a business degree. He's trying to stay in the area and
What's he employed at?
$10 an hour.
What's his current employment?
He's looking for work.
Okay. What was his last job?
I believe he just got out of college. I don't remember his resume, you know, word for word.
So he's the only one that applied for this?
He did.
Okay. Because, you know, there have been several things done in the past with the DBDA and others and comprehensive studies of parking in downtown. And we even had one of our city merchants offer to pay for a system that that Morgantown uses
That was before
at
this council.
one point in time.
That was before.
That was before us, but we gladly take his money.
I'm just making.
Well,
just
we
making-
revisited
Just
those.
making comment.
We revisited all that.
We've met with him, too.
And some of that data is old, and we have met with several businesses from the downtown that's willing to support this, but that offer is long off the table because the mayor and I have met with him.
Understand. So I just don't know that this gentleman has the potential, the expertise to do the job that we're talking about. And I'm kind of with Blair, the way it's written up is looking like we're just going to hire somebody as another, how you say, full-time, part-time city employee.
If he don't, we'll be smart enough to know how to take care of that.
Well, I don't think
we
that
do have
can-
we do have somebody right now that's a consultant for the city to do a lot of work that's being paid already.
All right, we
That potentially has just as much background in doing this as that's college educated, that has just as much background as Mr. Camino does.
But you voted no to
He's
hire.
talking about Kim.
But you voted no to hire.
But he's on the city payroll.
Okay, yeah. You voted
Well,
no.
why don't we just vote on it,
Yes,
and we'll see.
yes.
Mr. Michael? Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mr. Gearing?
No.
Yes.
Be it resolved by the City Council, City of Uniontown, that the city clerk be and is hereby authorized to advertise for bids for gasoline and diesel fuel for city vehicles for 2014.
No comment.
You're qualified to do that?
I think so.
Mr. Jones? Mr. Plumbo?
No comment.
Mr. Geary?
No comment.
Mr. Michael?
No. Oh, yes. I'm so confused.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mr. Gearing?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
That's all I have, Rick.
I'd like to take this time to congratulate, would you like to introduce yourself, our new member of council who will take office, I think sometime every first year.
I'd just like to thank everybody for the support. I'm looking forward to working for the city here, helping the people out. If anyone ever has any questions, I have open door policy. Please come and talk to me, settle all the differences.
You're qualified then to be councilman, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mark Yager, anything to offer?
Easy. We're still plugging away with our demolitions and got the new house about finished on Lemon Street.
How many demolitions do you have now?
We'll probably have about a dozen done this year. Yeah, by
That house on Lemon Street is absolutely beautiful, landscaping and unreal how they put you on that hillside and make it look like that.
We've been working with Chief Cox and the new code enforcement guy, Scott, and trying to get a system down to K2 Engineering with some of the demos, try to get them cleared as quick as we can, so we can have them demolished.
Yes. Mr. Sarnett?
The Fire Civil Service Commission, we administered the ability test and then the written test and oral examinations. And we finalized the list and we have it to present have it for council. There's 4 final applicants on it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody on council got something to say? Don't mind.
I'd rather let K2 explain where we're at with that H2O grant.
Hi, I'm Andy Bernard from K2 Engineering.
Yes, sir.
I just want to stop by and give you guys an update of where we stand with the Redstone Interceptor project. Right now, this project is going very well. They started behind LBI.
Are we ahead or behind?
As far as time frame, right on the money.
Good.
A few days behind, but we're going to make that up. They're currently at the near the post office. So what's left to do now is from Iowa Street over to the volunteer fire department, and from the volunteer fire department to O.C. Kloss Lumber, to the manhole in front. There are no payment requisitions or anything to submit to you at this time. We're preparing all those for the next meeting. Just wanted to check in and let you know that the contractor's doing a good job and let you know where we stand.
Phil, did they correct that extension on that?
I don't know. I had talked to Mr. Rover previously, and they have to go to the rear of OC Plus.
It's already there, isn't it? I mean, on your maps and that,
Yes.
for them to do it.
Yes. There's a little argument going on there right now, but I believe they're going to be forced to do it.
One of the things that you're referring to is from the front of Pluses to the middle of their sheds in the back.
Yes.
McMillan, who did the design for you guys, actually removed that section from the bid package. So what we've started to work on is what are the estimated costs associated with that project, and we'd be prepared to present that to you at the next meeting.
So if they took it out of that, does that mean that's not going to be done?
It wouldn't be in your initial, it's not in your initial bid package.
But it will be? No?
That's the decision you guys are going to have to make.
You have an argument with what?
No, I disagree with that.
I thought that was on the maps to be done, and they just stopped there.
It stopped there.
Stop where?
It's already a matter of records to go further.
Also, so are they have no choice but to let you do it, right?
It's going to come down between the engineer and the attorneys, but I believe they have to go
How long is the extension?
roughly up 300 foot, maybe.
300 feet?
Yeah, but it's right under, it's a crucial part of the job. It's right underneath Cuss's office buildings.
Yeah.
They'll go through right where that. I tell you, this job was so important to be done. We didn't realize how bad the system was until we got in there and televised. The pipe's all in bad shape. And I mean, now we have a new pipe.
Well, how old is it? How long?
1933, 32, 33, 80 years.
Is it terracotta?
Terracotta. So you know, versus what we're doing now, we had prices up to $700 a foot, some areas of that to replace. I mean,
Well, shouldn't our attorney be looking into that right now?
not right now, not yet, because it hasn't been, talked to the contractor, they don't know, I haven't talked to the owner of the company, but the contractor that's doing the job right now, he don't know where it's at. I talked with our John Over, our engineer, and he said it will be done. So, I mean, it's going to have to come down.
What did that cost a foot, the extension? What would that be a foot?
Boy, I tell you, I don't know how that broke down. I
Anybody
looked at
have
so many
a figure on that
numbers.
ballpark?
It was 1.5 million to get 3,000 feet, so whatever that breaks down
The
to.
cleaning and televising is $20 a linear foot, and the cured in place pipelining for 21-inch pipe is $189 a foot.
Yeah, that's
The 189
Yeah.
times 300.
3,000. 3,000.
3,000 more feet?
Yeah, 3,000 feet.
That's what the extension is.
Yeah, that's what we've done. If we go dig it up, you had prices anywhere from $300 to $700 a foot.
But the
replacement,
extension we're talking about is how many feet?
300 foot.
All right, then you'd have, what he said, 100 and some.
It's smaller line, that's 21 inch she just gave you. I think it's a 15 inch up there.
So it'd be less than that times 300 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
300 times 200 would be 60,000.
What they did is they just put a pipe in.
They put a pipe inside. It's
Pipe
the newest
in, pipe.
technology, yeah.
So you cleaned it out first, then put it in?
Yes.
Is the confusion on whether or not it's supposed to be done or not, Phil, just on the drawings, or was it because?
On the drawings,
originally-
on a drawing, it shows it going back there. The drawings they got, it shows it going back.
Well, what I was gonna say, when we made a submittal for the quote, the overall project, we didn't quite have enough money to do everything, so we dropped a couple things
We
off
dropped
the
a
table.
couple things off the
Okay.
table.
And then we had more money, so we were able to put a few things back on the table.
That's right.
But that isn't confusing the issue that you're talking about right now.
I don't know where the confusion came in with it. When they set up their last pump round, they in the contract, they had 3 pump rounds. That's setups where they pump all this sewage around. They've only done 2, and that was my argument. I said, well, you already said you was gonna do 3. So I'm sure it'll be worked out. If not, that's what we got JW for, engineers.
Phil, is there any spots in there where it's collapsed?
That line, you guys would have to see it on a video. It's cracked every joint. I mean, it's.
So it is perfect time to do it, right?
It's been long overdue.
So that's where potentially we're getting a lot of additional infiltration?
Very large amounts, yeah. So it'll help out the plant also, which will come back and help out us.
Any water that could get through that would be more, that wouldn't the sewage.
Yeah, you're paying to treat that water.
It could be a lot.
It could be. We have flow monitors on it now, check them, we'll know how much when it's all done.
That would be great. Chief?
Yes, sir. During the month of October, the police department responded to approximately 1,000 calls for service. We continue to deal with the daytime, evening burglaries, however, at a much less significant rate than we have in past months. We also continue to exhaust efforts in the East End area of Uniontown to combat some of the violence and specifically gun violence that we've been dealing with. I have met with Persian Court again since the last council meeting. We did a walkthrough of Persian Court and began the inception of a potential design for exterior camera system that will cover the Persian Court area. As well as in the last 6 weeks or so, as you're all aware, it's been, how many months since you've been on the job, Scott? 5 months. 5 months ago, the city hired Scott Chappell as a code enforcement officer. Scott spent a great deal of time working with Jim Knapp from K2 Engineering and working with residents in the city of Uniontown to help correct some of the blight problems that are in town. But he quickly got to a point where writing letters and having meetings was not accomplishing getting the necessary work done to these blighted homes that needed to be done to bring them up to code. So approximately 6 weeks ago, about 6 weeks ago, the police department, under the direction of the mayor, was able to assign Sergeant Brown to work with Scott Chappell in continuing the enforcement project of some of these code violations within the city of Uniontown. So, again, we got to a point where talking and working with people just wasn't there. There's a group of individuals that worked, and there was another group that didn't. So I'll turn it over. I'll let Sergeant Brown just give a brief of what they've accomplished together to date, where they're headed in the future, and he can answer any questions that you may have.
Like Jason said, about 6 weeks ago, I started getting involved with Mr. Chappell. It's a very involved process. He goes out and does a lot of the legwork with notifications, and in the month of October, I believe I filed 65 citations to various property owners throughout the city, and hopefully through this process, this part of the process, we could get a lot of it taken care of. The hearing notices are starting to come in now, and we'll see what happens after they're done. But like I said, it's a very involved process. Mr. Chappell does a lot of the work, and to take it to this next level of enforcement,
hopefully we'll get some results.
What's the next step? Does that go, if they don't respond, does that go to the magistrate?
The citations are filed with Judge Mitros, and they can plead guilty or not guilty, ask for a hearing, and then take it from there.
I wish I did.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown, the council adjourns to meet Wednesday, December 18, 2013 at 4:30 p.m. Mr. Michaels?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Palumbo?
Yes.
Mr. Gearing?
Just want to confirm that that means that the December 4th meeting is canceled?
Mayor Pike, is that a yes?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yeah.
Hey, Scott,